each like a whole body workout. So there's some upper body and lower body components in each one. Everything has some core connection. There's balance built into each workout. So you kind of hit all of your bases in a workout, but it's simple enough that you can do it at home. You can utilize bands, dumbbells, kettlebells, maybe a few weight plates, a couple basic tools that you can use at home. And these are very similar to travel-based workouts that I might make for a professional golfer that I work with, where we don't know what kind of equipment they're going to have. But you can get in a really good workout utilizing this system at home, get it done, hammer it out in your morning, and get on with your day, and get out and practice in the afternoon and play. Okay? So this isn't necessarily golf specific. It's more generalized functional training with balance components in it. There is some rotation, and there are some things that I'll talk about in here that are related to some of the things I saw in your videos that I think would help you based on your body type and your swing type and some of the things that I see you doing. So I'm going to start off, what I would say in general is, and since I can't screen you, I won't be able to look at all the mobility. You talked about being a little bit more hypermobile, so we're going to focus on some stabilization type exercises and balance. As far as general warm-up mobility, you can kind of pick your poison on that, whatever you want to do. If you want to do a cardiovascular light warm-up, I usually have people do 8 to 10 minutes of some form of either walking on a treadmill, stationary bike, elliptical. If you have a jump rope, I think that's a great tool. Obviously, you could just do jumping jacks, jog, just something light. My whole thoughts are that you really need to think about getting your body moving a little bit, just kind of warming up, getting some blood flow, getting things going before you start going through these patterns of movement into a workout. I'm going to start off with a mobility series that I would do with the dowel rod, which I think will just kind of get you amped up, and then I'll go straight into sending you videos of each of these 3 workouts that I want you to start doing at home. So dowel rod or a golf club, doesn't really matter, just grab something that you can stretch with. You have a stretching pole, anything along those lines would work well. And what I'd have you do is do the general warm-up for 8 to 10 minutes, and then go ahead and grab the dowel rod and go through some movement-based stuff. So we'll do a little what I call like a 3-dimensional stretch. So 3D stretch series would start off with just some basic movements, like we would basically do a squat. So just from the sideline position, I'm going to do maybe about 8 or 10 of these squats. In this warm-up that you do, it won't take more than like 5 or 6 minutes once you kind of get good at it. The depth is not that important to me. Parallel or even less, as long as we're not just like collapsing and we have a good form to our squat. So we'll do 8 or 10 squats from that position, and then we'll go into some lateral movements. So lateral movements, I'm going to rotate my thumbs to this position and step lateral and rotate. So a little bit there, load my left, rotate, pause around. And again, I'll do about 8 to each side. Notice I turn my thumbs back to the right. I like to work my hands a little specific if I can. I don't like to be crossed like this with my shoulder tipping. So I'm trying to work on little bits of movement in that pattern to go through there. The third thing is going to be hinge. So with hinge, we'll get into a little hinge and we'll warm up into here. So from the side angle, I'll hinge, come out to straight, come back down. Hinge, get out here, come back down. And again, I might do about 6 or so of those on each side as I go through. And I'm just trying to get some of that extension through my spine, open everything up, get my arms up overhead a little bit, kind of get loose through that pattern. Okay? So then, after I've done that, because I've done a little bit of squatting, lateral movement into there, and then I got some straight plane into that position, I'm going to go ahead and go through a little rotational squat pattern. So it's a little more dynamic. What I would do is squat down and then twist and press. So I'm kind of loading the ground, rotating through my hips a little bit. And again, I might do about 8 or 10 of these. Whole idea again, just get moving. It doesn't have to be super fast. It's not like it's metabolic or anything like that. Right there. Okay? So those 4 little exercises that you can do just to get some movement, a little bit of rotation and generalized stuff. Try to get your system going a little and get everything awake. Okay? The next thing I would do is I would go into a little bit of an activation series. So right after I do that, I'll do an activation series. So the activation series is, for me, I really like these loop bands. They're Superflex bands. You can order them online from superflexfitness.com. They tend to have a lot of usage and you can travel with them really easily. So one of the great things is I can step on these bands. That's what I like about it. So I can kind of restrict them down by myself. So what I would do with this is I'll go through some more patterns, kind of open up the shoulder blades a little. And I'm going to do some kind of a T position. So I'm going to squat down and go into a little bit of a T. And I'll do about 8 or 10 of these. And then I can do a Y, where I'm raising up here. I don't have to go too far. I want to make sure I'm not using my back. So I just kind of go to the range where I feel comfortable. Right there. Okay? And the last one is the shoulder rotation. So I'm going to do a little bit of rotator cuff type thing, where I actually go out. So have a little bit of squat, and then rotate out with my elbows more in. So now I get some of that shoulder blade activation. I'll do 8 to 12 reps of each of these. Okay, now I've got a little bit of that shoulder blade stuff activated, and then I would go down and do some activation for my lower body. So I like to use the mini bands for that. Again, this is very basic, but you're just trying to hit everything, as we say, light everything up, get some activation. You're not trying to do anything. So this isn't super specific, it's just get everything awake. So with the mini bands, I'll go at the ankles to start, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3-step. So with the 3-step, I'll go with a little bit of forward, lateral, and then opening. Okay? So it's like 1, 2, 3. Notice this is my post leg here. So it doesn't really move. Everything else moves around it. And again, I'll do 5 each way. So I'm counting to 15. And then I'm going to switch over and go here, here, and here. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Okay? So then after I've done the 3 series, I'll do some sidewalks. So those are the basic little like lateral walks, engaging the core and going down the line. I might go 10 steps this way and then 10 steps back. And then I'll do forward and back. So with the forward and back, I'm kind of walking here and walking back. Okay? 10 steps forward, 10 steps backward, and I'm good with that. And then the last one is up around the knee level. So I put it to the knee, and with that one, I'm just going to do a squat. And what I want to do is, as I squat down, I'm going to add a little bit of outward pressure like that, and then come back in. So I go, as I'm squatting, I'm pushing out, and then coming back in. So I'm getting a little roll in and a little roll out. And if you wanted to add a medicine ball or some weight to some of those where you're holding, it's great. Okay, adds a little element to it, so making it a little more advanced. All right. So that's the lower body and the upper body activation series, and that's after you've done the basic warm up and the basic dowel rod mobility, and you go right into that. So if you could spend 10 or 12 minutes doing that, that'd be awesome. It'll set you up for the 3 workouts. In the first workout series, let me check my time real quick. So the first workout series is using a band again. Now you could use any band with tubing, it'd be fine. Like with handles, you can step on it. As long as it's long enough and light enough to be able to reach a little bit overhead, you can do it. That's why I like these loop bands. I think it's a great investment. There's different levels. So I'm going to start with the blue. On this one, I usually use the orange myself, but the blue is a good start. We're going to step on it with my right foot. I'm going to go into a back step lunge. So from the side, you'll see me go down like this way. I'm going to add a rotation, pause, 1, 2, come back to the center, and come back up. So as I'm going back into my lunge, I'm pressing, rotating, 1, 2, coming back. So now what I've got here is a little bit of lower body because I'm doing backwards lunge, and a little bit of upper body with press, trunk rotation, stabilized. You want to see what happens to my knee is I want that to be stable. So as I'm down here, I don't want this going all over. I want to be able to turn against it and pause a little 1, 2, and then come back. So basically what I'm doing on that is I'm kind of trying to store the energy in there as I step back into that back step lunge position. Get a little bit of rotation, load into my hip, get my lower body activated, hold for a few seconds, and then move on. Of course, and do that the other side. I would look at maybe 8 to 10 reps. All right, second one is just a basic push-up. Now, I like to add these loops to my wrist. Okay, again, these are $2 bands from Perform Better. Works great. I use push-up handles for all push-up exercises with my golfers because I don't like overloading the wrist. I don't see a lot of benefit to overloading the wrist. It just seems like you're going to create more problems. Okay, I want to strengthen the wrist. I don't want to overload it. So I put these between my hands and I'll set up with these. I'm going to do a push-up. I'm going to set up, I'll push to the right, go down, push to the left, go down from there. Okay? So as you'll see, what I'm going to do is get my push-up position, go over to the right, press, come back. Left, press, come back. Right, press, come back. Left, press, come back. And I would look for, since it's a body weight exercise, you go higher on the reps. 12 reps, maybe 16 reps, 8 on each side. It's just your body weight. Now, everything varies. If the form gets ugly, stop. Okay? You can only do 10, fine. But I would look for 12 to 16 reps, which is 6 to 8 on each side. Okay? And really pressing against that band. You can also make it to a harder band as you get better. Okay? Alright, the third one in that series, and I'm going to send you a template with all this that I wrote out. This is a back step to a curl. So we have another back step exercise, and again it's to get some lower body activation into it. And I like to program the lower body into some of the exercises as opposed to just isolating it. So, and since you're at home, you say you have dumbbells. I'm using a slider here, so I can add a little element. If you don't have the slider, it's fine, just do the back step lunge. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back slide down into a good hammer curl and back up through. The key to this stuff is that you actually focus on little 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3 holds. It's not a power move. You're not trying to do like an Olympic pull on this one because this is not the speed program. This is building strength and stability. So 1, 2 up and back down. 1, 2 up and back down through to there. And again, I would pick a weight that's reasonable and go with a little higher rep to start so you can get some muscular endurance back into this program as well. A conditioning effect if you keep going through with minimal rest. Okay, so again, looking at maybe 6 to 8 reps on each side with that. Now, we're going to talk about moving laterally. So, one of the things I noticed in the swing video that you sent, or I just looked at your videos. So basically I stalked you online. So I looked at your videos and I see with your swing, you're working really hard on your swing plane. You have all kinds of the tools and apparatus set up, and it's looking pretty good, to be honest. So you're getting a lot better at that. What I see with you a little bit is your tempo and some of the ways that you get to the top and kind of spin a little bit, and sometimes that pulls your shoulders up. So there's some things there. One of the things I like to work on is the lateral movement component, because I think that if we can think about in the transitioning of the swing is making sure to set the lateral movement and then add the rotation, we're in good shape. I think a lot of amateur golfers just spin and rotate from the top, and that puts the club in bad positions. Okay? So if you have the ability to do this, what I want to do is set up some stations. You could do this literally off a wall station that you can make in your garage. You can do it off doors where you lock the bands into the door anchors. But if you get some of these super bands, you can loop them through on the door, and you can add some lateral stability. So I'm going to take this band, I'm going to put it around my waist. So I have it right there, okay? So what happens here is as I add this movement, I'm going to get pulled a little bit laterally, okay? And I just need to work on kind of pushing into it as I move so it becomes dynamic and I'm getting some lateral component to the movement. Because the drill that we're going to do is a press. I've got some bands. And again, if you don't have this, that's okay. Just do it without it. Do the same exercise. But if you have it, it adds another element of laterally pushing before I then add some pressing patterns, okay? We're going to do a three-way press. It's a low, middle, high press, and it's with the stepping pattern. So I've got this set up to here. I'm going to go lateral to here, and then press low, press middle, press high. So I'm low like impact, middle off the chest, high off the shoulders, adding some elements of the core training right through there, and back into, make it dynamic. 1, 2, 3. So I've got this movement of tilt, okay? And I'm working on my shoulders that way. Now, of course, I'm going to turn around and do this the other way with the camera. You won't be able to see that. But it's the same idea. If I step out with my right and press here, it would be my left and pressing there. Okay. So I call it a three-plane press. You've seen some of the stationary presses, like pallet press or stirring pot, things like that. So those are fine. I just like to add a dynamic component to it so we're getting some movement. Move into that press. And that's going to help you out a little bit with that sense of stability. Okay? And just initiating some lateral movement. All right, there's 2 more on this first one. And it's the first one, or the first one of the last 2 on there, is a hinge drill. So we're going to add a hinge so we get some glute activation, and we'll add a row. So we haven't done a lot of pulling. We've had a lot of pressing in this. Okay? So with the hinge drill, I would just set up on single leg balance onto my right leg. I'm going to hinge at the hip, get into my stance position there, so I have a balance component, and I'm just going to do some rows. So I'm set up here, and I'm pulling about 10 or 12 times. Lost my balance. Okay, and then I'll switch. So I'm in this hinge position, keeping everything engaged, adding a little bit of row. Not lifting as I pull, staying down, staying in here as I pull. You can see my ankle working on that a little bit. So I've got some stability that's being programmed into that exercise. And that's what you like. Any exercise where you can get more bang for your buck, multiple elements in it, that's the way you want to train. Alright, and the last one adds in a core element, and there's a sequence of upper body movements to it with presses. So I would use a lighter dumbbell on this one, maybe a 5 or 7.5. I'm going to show you at the 7.5. Basically the drill is a side plank. So if I'm in side plank position, I'm set up to here. I take my dumbbell, I lift it to here, and I press it out, come up, press it up, come back down. Lift into plank, pull, press, here, and back, down, like that. So what I'm getting here is time under tension. So if I stay in that position, control that pull, control that press, come back down, keep my side plank. I'm going to work on building stability by staying there for longer periods of time. Even though the weight is lighter, we're holding it a little bit, and you're going to activate all that musculature and get a lot stronger with that. Okay? That is the first one of the 3 workout programs you're going to do. I'm going to send you the video of the other 2, and I'll attach those on a separate video program. Okay?